Hey everybody, I am so excited to stamp with you today. It's Dina from the Creativity Cave, and I'm going to show you 3 techniques for kissing. I'm super excited about this because it is such a fun technique and you can do it with so many things. But Stampin' Up! Recently came out with this Kiss of Texture stamp set, and I think it's perfect to perfect our kissing technique. So let's get started. I'm going to start out with a couple of scraps of cardstock because I want to show you 3 different ways that you can do the kissing technique. So in this stamp set, you can see there's 3 images that are solid and 3 images that have texture. You can certainly use other images that are solid or textured for this, but this is such a fun combination of things. So let's see. My first technique is basic kissing. Don't worry, we're not going to get weird here. So what I want to do with basic kissing is I'm going to take my solid stamp and I'm going to ink this up. So I get a nice, good, solid inking of ink. I want to make sure that there's not like some lighter and darker areas. So give it a good inking. You can see I trimmed my edges of my rubber because there was a little that was sticking out. I didn't do it on this one, but on this one I did. Okay, so now I'm going to take this wood grain texture and I'm going to just place it on my stamp, press down and lift straight up. And then as you can see, there's texture on there, and then when I stamp it onto my scrap of cardstock, voila, my kind of boring old banner is now full of texture. So there's the contrast between the two, so with no kissing and with kissing. All right, now that was a really simple version. Okay, next we're going to take the square stamp and I'm going to use this floral image. So on my square stamp, I'm going to ink it up with some Flirty Flamingo ink. Again, really any design is going to work great for this. But I wanted to show you this. So if I repeated what I just did, which was stamp a clean stamp onto this detail image, and you know what? Well, this is probably going to work a little better than I intended, but there's our texture. So that looks pretty good. What I want to bring you back to is the first one I did. Oh, I might not have that piece anymore. The first one I did, the detail did not come out very good. So I thought, how am I going to get this texture looking a little better? So what I decided to do is I inked this up again. I'm going to clean my stamp off real good, and I like to use a little bit of Stampin' Scrub and my spritz versus just my chamois on this, just because it works a little better to clean things off. And also it usually ends, you can dry the stamp and then it's not going to be wet, whereas a chamois might leave it a little bit wet. But I'm going to bring in the Versamark pad, okay? I'm going to ink up my my detail stamp with my Versamark. And then when I do that, it's going to leave a crisper impression in my solid stamp, okay? Now, this didn't work so hot because, I mean, it looks almost as good as this one, but honestly, I think this still had Versamark on it from the last time I did it. But when I first did this, I could hardly see any of the details, and I wish I had that scrap still. I wonder if I find it, I will take a picture and put it in my blog post. But I really loved how I'm even gonna like look in my trash. I really loved the difference that it made having that Versamark on there. Ooh, maybe it's over here. Hold on. I might have found it. Yes, I did. Oh, I might have die cut through. No, I didn't. Okay, so there we go. You can see there's hardly any detail in this little scrap that I was playing with. And so that's when I decided to do the Versamark, and you can see it looks So much more detailed. Okay, then my third example is to do 2 colors of ink. Okay, so let's close this one up. So our third kissing technique is to take and use 2 colors. So I'm going to ink up my circle with some Lemon Lolly, and then I've got a darker color of yellow, in this case crushed curry. You could use Daffodil Delight if you wanted, but you just want a second color with some contrast. And then I'm going to take, gotta ink that up again. There was a fuzz on my stamp. Okay, so same process. Oh, but no, kidding. I'm gonna clean this off real good because I want to use my Versamark again. That Versamark is still gonna help me have a nice crisp image. So I'll put the Versamark on first, then ink it up in my crushed curry, and then stamp it straight up and straight down on here, and I end up with, voila, this wonderful texture on my stamp. So those are 3 techniques for doing the kissing technique. Now let's turn these 3 into cards, and I think you're gonna love them. So the first one I did was my simple card. So I added, well, actually I discovered that these all get cut out by the stylish shaped dies perfectly. They line up with those stylish shaped dies. So I die cut my my banner. I added another banner in some glimmer paper, and then this is the little flower from the painted, what is it? Painted lavender? Yeah, painted lavender dies. I added an embossed background, and I just love how this turned out. And then on the inside, time to celebrate. So I used the painted lavender dies, and then the butterfly, the new butterfly, beautiful butterflies stamp set for this card. So really simple, but so striking and beautiful. For my next card, we are going to create the card for our floral piece. So I've got my floral piece die cut. I did that ahead of time. I'm going to start with my card base, which is Flirty Flamingo, to coordinate with that Flirty Flamingo ink that I used. I love that everything we have coordinates. That is so wonderful. I've got a panel of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white. I think I do. Yeah. 4 by 5 1/4 basic white, and then 3 3/4 by 5 embossed. And I embossed this with the Distressed Tiles folder, one of my all-time favorite folders. And let's put that together into our card. So I'll just layer these 2 together, and then I want to add this to a coordinating banner. So this, or banner, what am I saying? Square. So I die cut a square out of my Flirty Flamingo cardstock. So we'll just adhere this. I put a little extra adhesive on because we're putting it on a textured surface. So there we go. That looks great. Now what I'm going to do is add this right here. And then I'm also going to add, I thought a die cut piece over the top, kind of like I did on this card, was going to look nice. So I die cut this sprig from the Textured Florals dies. And I was using this set on a card earlier this week, and I just forgot how much I love those dies. So I pulled this kind of eucalyptus piece out and thought this would be perfect to add right here. But I also wanted to add a sentiment, and I didn't want to stamp the sentiment over the top in like a dark ink. So I thought it would be really pretty if we embossed it, heat embossed it with some white. So I'll take that Versamark pad once again. I'm also going to grab my embossing additions toolkit to help me out. So we'll put some of our Embossing Buddy powder on there. Then I will take the For You. This is from my butterfly stamp set, because I love those sentiments. And I'm just going to add For You on here in my Versamark. And then we'll grab some of our white powder so that we can adhere or heat set that. And I'm just making sure nothing's sticking that I don't want stuck before we heat this up. I'm gonna grab my finger saving tweezers and we shall heat set this. So we've got for you on the outside. So pretty. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add some ribbon. I love, love, love this white woven ribbon. It's really nice and thin. It ties beautifully. And so I thought we would make a lovely card with it. And I'm going to tie just a bow on the side here. Pardon my arm. Okay, so I'm going to tie this bow right on the side. And a little tip for you. When I'm tying a bow, I'm going to tie my ribbon and hold it perpendicular to the way I want it to lay. So I want it to lay straight. Actually, in this case, I almost want it to lay at a bit of an angle. So I'm going to hold it kind of because I want things to really be at a bit of an angle. And then when I pull these through, the bow through there, that's what I get, is it's laying the way I kind of was holding those ends. And this little tip just keeps on producing the results I want. So I love it. But basically you just hold it perpendicular to how you want it to lay eventually. All right, so let's take and trim those ends just slightly so our bow looks nice and neat. And then we're gonna pop this stamped die cut square over the top of our solid color square. And oh my goodness, so fun. Oh my goodness, I love that. Okay, now, but we haven't even done the best part yet, which is add this little die cut piece. So let's take some mini glue dots. These things are just the best. I mean, you could hang your kids up on the wall with them if you really needed to. Mostly kidding. Okay, so I've got a couple glue dots on there. I'm gonna well, maybe one more. I was gonna say, I'm not too worried about this. We just want to make sure it stays on our card. Kind of like that. Oh, so beautiful. And then you can see our bow is, I mean, it's not going to cover the whole thing, but it's going to overlap a little bit, which is really nice. All right, now this is a nice card. So I'm going to take it up a notch, literally, and put some dimensionals on here. And this is such a pretty card. Oh my goodness. Now you could make this into really whatever color or whatever type of card you want. Oh, actually you could do any colors you wanted as well, but any type of card, because on the outside it says for you. So on the inside you can make it say whatever you want. So I think, let's see, what did I do on the inside of that hello card? I can't remember what I stamped. Where did my hello card go? Oh, here it is. So on the inside of this one, I said time to celebrate. On the inside of this one, it's so pretty, so I think we're going to do something kind of nice. And so I've got another panel of basic white. I'm going to take this floral image and I'm going to clean it real quick. And then, ooh, almost out of my Stampin' Mist. There we go. I'm going to clean it. I'm going to ink it back up with my Flirty Flamingo ink. And then before I stamp it on the inside of my card, I want to get rid of a layer of that ink. So I'm just going to stamp it down like so. And then I will stamp it right in the center. So I've got a nice little lighter than normal floral image. And then I'm going to add my sentiment over the top, which says, "In case you need me, I'm here." So I think this is such a nice sentiment to add to this card. Of course, there's lots of sentiments you could add. It doesn't have to be this. It could really, truly be anything. But I think the sentiment on this is so lovely. Okay, so let's adhere that to the inside of our card and then embellish with some gems. So there's a variety of different gems we could use for this. I think either pearls or I've got some iridescent rhinestones here that I think are so pretty. And we could put those on this card and oh, it's just going to be so gorgeous. So a little shimmer is of course exactly what this card needs, but the stress of deciding where to put the shimmer, right? I mean, are you guys with me on that? Where do you stick the dots? You just want them in the right place. I'm going to keep them on my square, and I am loving this. So, of course, all the supplies that I'm using, all the stamp sets, all the dies, all the colors, all the things are going to be listed on my blog. There's a link in the description of this video. You can also see I've listed some of the supplies in here. I don't have a ton of space in my YouTube description, but some of them are linked in there, and you can check those out. If you love these projects, please consider shopping my online store for some of them. It helps me bring awesome free video tutorials to you each week, and I hope that you loved this one. In fact, if you did, I would appreciate the thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel. There should be a little button right about there, and you can catch all the content that I share each week. Let me bring in the other cards that we did with this fun technique. So 3 ways to perfect your kissing technique right here today, guys. I hope you loved these projects. Thanks again for stamping with me, and I will look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye, friends.